Hello. Hello, this is the My Artifact episode number 4019. Today's date is April 24, 2026. It's been almost like a morning at 7:51 a.m. Should I just, it's blown out from the background. Like, is it this? This would be kind of like a much more better. Okay, yeah, somewhat something. Okay, like you were kind of like getting this door. Okay, you are kind of like getting this thing. Like, what the fuck is that? Okay, okay, this is a like okay, this is a door. Okay, so this is a door which is made up by iron. Okay, yeah, simple thing. Okay, yeah, and which is facing always outside to the surrounding. So that's why sometime it get corroded. Okay, yeah, corrosion actually happened over there, so that's why you're kind of like getting this, seeing this mark. Okay, yeah, and like basically corrosion is not actually happen like directly, it happens step by step. Okay, yeah, so first of all, first corrosion step would be kind of like somebody just degrade the paint. Like this is the black paint is actually kind of like over there. So basically the corrosion and paint are kind of like a try to miss spoils and try to just remove that paint first. This is the first step. Okay, then slowly it kind of like started corroding. So the stuff that you are kind of like seeing this mark is just corrosion. It's just simple kind of like something, the natural phenomena of metal is kind of like interacting with this thing. Okay, all right, so should we jump to the question? Right, let's just jump to the question. All right, question is, what if user feel misunderstood? Okay, first of all, what exactly is this question and why am I asking this question to myself? Okay, what exactly is this question? I wanted to build an app called My Artifact app. Okay, it's a kind of like such an app where you wrote the diary every single day. Okay, you wrote the diary every single day. What if we could change the process of writing to recording audio? Okay, yeah, it would be kind of like a much more easier, right? Because when you write, there are a lot of constraint because you have to write, and sometimes it depends on spelling mistakes and lot of things. Okay, yeah, so you cannot able to be write that much. You have a lot of thoughts, but you cannot write that much because the way that you think, you cannot write the way that you think. Why? Because the way that you think is much more faster than the way that you write. Okay, yeah, so what if I could change that process from writing to recording? Okay, yeah, I call this process as a artifact. The stuff that you are kind of like seeing me right now or listening me right now, this is My Artifact episode number 4019. I am doing this thing for almost like 11 year, and because of this recording artifact, it add so much amount of value in myself. Okay, the because of I add so much amount of value in myself, I realized that what if I could share this technicality to the people, then they also kind of like get that value in their life too. So that's why I built this application, My Artifact app. My app is a kind of like a somewhat something like a YouTube. In the YouTube platform, people are kind of like a upload your video and other people kind of like watch your video. It's kind of like a same. Artifact is a kind of like a, you can record your artifact and upload your artifact on publicly. People will kind of like a listen your artifact. There is a one thing that I'm providing is a privacy. Is that key, no one will gonna know who is exactly that particular person, or no one will gonna know who is that person. Means every user in artifact is kind of like a somebody have some certain amount of privacy that you don't know who is that particular person. Like basically my name is Saurav Authare, but my username would be kind of like a somebody Jackson 43 or maybe Prozac 1943. So this is what kind of like a somebody the username will kind of like a somebody see, so that we would kind of like a somebody making sure that key the people in the artifact, they will not gonna know your real name. Why? Because of that, ki try to understand the stuff that you are kind of like a talk, or stuff that you kind of like a things, you blunt it out in artifact. And the problem is that ki it's very unfiltered, and obviously if we attach our real identity into that, then it might be really like a, like you might kind of like a feel like constrained, or you might not feel that ki you will not gonna get that freedom. Like example is this thing na, ki let's just imagine that ki you wrote the diary every single day, and someone kind of like reading your diary and they know who you are, then probably you cannot able to write that much, because you already kind of like think that ki what if that particular person kind of like read. Okay, yeah. So that's why I'm kind of like somebody giving that privacy, that they will kind of like read your diary, but they cannot able to know who is exactly that particular person. It adds so much amount of value. It kind of like I'm kind of, because of this thing, I'm kind of like a, there is a two positive thing will gonna happen. First thing is that ki let the user kind of like somebody express the stuff that they wanted to. Okay, yeah, this is the first thing. Another thing is that ki it maintain the privacy. Okay, yeah, so that it will, the people will not gonna attack on real life. Okay, yeah, so this is kind of like a privacy. Okay, so this is the app that I'm building right now. Okay, like I have to be understand my pitch. Okay, yeah, like this shouldn't supposed to be my pitch regarding about kind of like introducing my application, right? Yeah, I have to be kind of like make it short, or make it kind of like a little bit better. Okay, so the question is that, just completely forget the question. The question is that, okay, what if the user feel misunderstood? Okay, first of all, where is this question came from? So basically, I wanted to build the app, and I wanted to know everything regarding about this application, how it will gonna impact, what will gonna happen, what kind of like consequences will I supposed to be face. So I wanted to know everything, that what possible consequences will gonna happen in the future. So I went to ChatGPT. I said this thing, that this is my application, this and that and that. Suggest me 100 questions so that I would understand regarding about application, and also understand what kind of like a consequences will I gonna face in the future. So ChatGPT almost like a suggest me hundreds of question, and like all those question actually in the mobile phone, but right now in the recording I cannot do fiddle and that and that. So that's why I wrote question in here, like this is the question. Okay. By the way, this is the book that I'm reading right now. Right. This is the book that I'm reading right now, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Really amazing book. Highly recommend to you to read this book. Okay, so question is that, what if user feel misunderstood? Okay, yeah. Okay, what is actually user feel misunderstood? Okay, misunderstood means what? Means people will kind of like something that came. Okay, yeah, let me kind of like understand. I am using Instagram for almost like a, like like I started using Instagram 2014. Okay, yeah. I was uploading my content on Instagram platform since 2014. Not just a content point of perspective, but as a photography point of perspective, because I love photography. And at that time, means 2014, Instagram is a kind of like a platform for photographer, not a social media platform. So I was kind of like uploading my content, uploading my photos on Instagram platform. Since then, Instagram changed a lot. Really a lot. Within the last 2-3 years, it changed so much. Since COVID, it changed so much. Okay, yeah. Right now, I don't really have any Instagram app. I have Instagram handle. I can access Instagram from Chrome browser. Okay, but basically is this thing na ki I still doesn't know about Instagram that much. I still doesn't know what is actually button that it calls. Like there is a kind of like a new button that they establish, um, repost, repost or reshare. I don't know what is actually this thing. Like there are a couple of buttons that they are kind of like a something like adding. Like there are multiple features our Instagram is actually adding. and I still don't know anything about that. Okay, yeah. Why I don't know? Because I don't really care about that. Okay, I don't really care about that. So basically, I just don't know. And this is what kind of like a something happened with my application too. Most of the user will download my application to not to know what they should supposed to be doing, like a kind of like a misunderstood. Okay, like basically this is kind of like a very clear thing. Okay, yeah, like a basically is this thing now ki, okay, let me kind of like a somebody give you the understanding, okay, so that you might gonna understand uh why, what, okay, what is exactly YouTube, what can you get from the YouTube? Well, you can watch video on YouTube platform. So yeah, what is actually TikTok offer? TikTok is not actually available in India, but in US or everywhere TikTok is actually available. So what is actually TikTok is actually offering? Vertical video, right? Yeah, real kind of like a things and that and that. What is Twitter offering people? You can share your tweets or thoughts. Okay. What is Reddit offer? um, Reddit is a kind of like a somebody platform where kind of like a somebody people will um, like a, like a, share their tweets. It's not really that, but I don't know. Do you understand? Like basically, this is enough. There are so many social media platform or there are so many applications that user are don't know what they should supposed to do, even if those are application are very massive followings and things and that, but still people don't know. Like I don't know what exactly Replit do. Like I don't know what, like a Replit is a kind of like some Twitter that you could share your things and that. It's kind of like some YouTube. It's kind of like it's kind of like from Facebook, right? But there are so many hidden things that I don't know regarding about what kind of like a Reddit offer. Okay, yeah. So this is what it is. This is what kind of like somebody is this thing. A normal user doesn't know what is exactly the feature is actually offering or things and that. Okay, yeah. And because of this thing, it might kind of like somebody create a something wrong stuff. What is actually wrong stuff? Okay, so let me kind of like there is a kind of like a incident happened. Okay, I'm not really sure, but okay. So in Twitter platform, I'm not really sure. By the way, I'm not really sure. Okay. So in Twitter platform, okay, yeah. Some people who kind of like a simply uploaded their kind of like a content on Twitter platform. Okay, yeah. His content is kind of like really good, really great. Okay, yeah. And suddenly what is actually happened that other people have started uploading the same content on Twitter platform, and there is no copyright strike like a YouTube does. Like in YouTube platform you have a copyright strike, like basically someone cannot steal your content or someone cannot copy your content. If they do, you have allowed to copyright them. Okay, yeah, so that they will kind of like a remove and things and that. But in Twitter platform these are not exist. Okay, this copyright thing does not exist. So the real creator who has a kind of like a creativity showcase that creativity on Twitter platform cannot able to. Why? Because other people download your content and upload their content on same platform, and they will get the credit. So so that's why I just think that most of the user are not uploading their content on Twitter platform. They are, I think I'm not really sure about that. Okay, yeah, maybe in the future they might gonna do, but in the Twitter platform they just kind of like somebody just one thing for kind of like a somebody that they're sharing their post. Okay, yeah, or maybe reel or maybe kind of like somebody memes or things and that. But it's not the kind of like somebody the platform where you could kind of like a showcase your creativity. No, YouTube is only place. Okay, or maybe Instagram, but cannot be a kind of like a Twitter. So this is what kind of like a things. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that the understanding regarding about every platform, what it does and what it not, every user does not know that. And higher chances would be that people doesn't know what is exactly Artifact is actually offering. Okay, yeah. people might come to artifact that key they would supposed to be kind of like listen people other thoughts. Okay, yeah. Like most of the random user, they will kind of like come to the will download this application to kind of like simply listen other people thoughts probably. Okay, yeah. And what they will gonna do, they just kind of like open the app, sign up, and they just kind of like started listening the artifact and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. Now they don't know anything about the app. They just kind of like someone told them, they download, they just started listening, and kind of like a somewhat something, they don't like it. Like it is lock, they don't like the app. They don't like the couple of people who kind of like a recording artifact and things and that and that. Like basically, let's just say like there is a one particular person kind of like a recording artifact regarding about first day at job. He was kind of like a saying that and that and that and that. Now a new user is don't know anything about that, and kind of like a say this is kind of like a shit. Why am I kind of like a listening or things and that and that? So that particular person might gonna do kind of like so many things like a stupid things probably, like a you wasted my time, like, or maybe kind of like a put the comment that key like in my application you cannot type the comment, you record the comment. Okay, yeah. So this user will kind of like say you just wasted my 37 minute. Okay, yeah. Or maybe kind of like a dislike or kind of like things and that and that. Okay, yeah. So most of the user are actually are that. Okay, yeah. So is it wrong, is it right, is it kind of like a things that key like is it people are misunderstood? What do I, how do I supposed to kind of like let them kind of like understood? Or maybe kind of like a new user are kind of like a recording artifact, then how do they understood? Okay, there is a couple of things that I wanted to mention. Okay, yeah. First of all, the people who wanted to record the artifact, they will record the artifact when they listen the artifact first. Okay, let me kind of like a understanding. Okay, it's a kind of like a things that na ki usually people action are depends upon ripple effect. They are not became the ripple. Okay, let me give you understanding even more better. Oh yeah, most of the user are wanted to stay in the crowd, or most of the user are kind of like a wanted to be part of the crowd. Very less and less people are kind of like a stand out against the crowd. And why is that? Because our natural human instinct are not letting us do that thing, because our survival is depends upon when we are living together. Okay, yeah, even if that togetherness kind of like is only wrong, but we living together, it's kind of like us only became our survival. Okay, yeah. So that's why is this kind of like a thing that na ki, what is at least this thing that ki most of the user are just kind of like assembly, like just kind of like things that na ki they just maybe like they just not understood, they just don't want to understood. Okay, yeah, they literally they don't want to understood, they just kind of like came and they will listen, they will not, whatever it is. Okay, yeah. Will those people will gonna record the artifact? No, they will not gonna record artifact at the first. Why? The 90% of the chances that people will gonna record the artifact, they are come from listening the artifact. Like basically I just said this is the new user and this is a recording artifact people. Okay, yeah. So new user will not become the people who record the artifact. No, people will this is a new user come to this block and they will listen the artifact first. They would listen and things and that, and they would kind of like listen other people thoughts and things and that and that, and after that they will start recording the artifact. Okay, yeah. It's not kind of like a new user started jump into the recording. It's not happened. Maybe happen very less, but 90% of the people just go from new user to listening artifact to record artifact. This is kind of like a things will gonna happen. Okay, another thing. Okay, the people who record the artifact, they already knew what kind of like they should supposed to be saying, or they already knew what they should supposed to be expected. Okay, because they already listen so many artifact. Okay, and why does user will kind of like a started recording artifact? What is at least this thing? same. Okay, same logic applied. People wanted to part of the crowd. Okay, yeah. But some people are wanted to be stand out too. But how? Like how is that actually happen? Okay. So let me kind of like understanding. Um Basically let's just say people who are kind of like a listening artifact regarding about the particular person who is kind of like a what exactly happened first day in his job, what kind of like a things actually happened. He kind of like experienced that and that. You kind of like realize that dude, like it's same thing happened with me. I should supposed to be sure. Like what exactly happened that na ki when other random people are kind of like a recording their experience, I should supposed to do that thing. Why? Because we are human and we wanted to part of the crowd. So we are became part of the crowd. We are kind of like simply recording our artifact. It's a kind of like a things that na ki let me understand. Okay, let me kind of like some understanding things. Okay, it's a psychological process. Okay, let's take a kind of like a things. Okay, um, have you take selfie? Okay, simple thing. Take a selfie. Okay, now just take a selfie. Now basically is this thing. Taking selfie really required courage. Okay, what the fuck is that? Okay, taking selfies really required courage. Like, are you like, okay, you were not really understanding, or I'm not. Okay, let's just say you are the group of people. Okay, yeah, like these are your friends. Okay, yeah. Now we just hang out. Okay, yeah, and are you gonna take selfie with your group? Well, yeah, I can. It's not really that difficult, right? Like I can. It doesn't really require that courage. Like these are all my friends. I knew them. I would take the selfie. So what is actually courage in that? Okay. Okay, that what is actually courage in that? Okay, that's really good thing. Okay, the courage is that he most of the people are not to take selfie. Okay, are you like selfie is a selfie, right? Yeah, selfie just selfie. How is that courageful? Like how is this taking selfie is a kind of like a courageous act? Okay, it's still is a psychology. Okay, you have to understand things and that. The people who take the selfie, obviously that particular person does not look good on that selfie. That's a very common phenomenon. And have you actually experienced this thing? Okay, yeah. So basically it's this thing. If I'm kind of like taking a selfie like that, okay, yeah. So my face would be like this or like that, or I try to manage that everyone should supposed to be in the frame and things and that and that. So basically my face is actually how. So basically my face would be kind of like a so much taking big portion of the frame, and which looks ugly because my face would be okay, आगे सब आगे, yeah, and take a selfie, right? Okay, yeah. So basically this thing, I am putting effort to take selfie, but my face look ugly. So what exactly it means? It means that कि even after you know you will look ugly in that selfie, but you still take a selfie with everyone. It really required courage, dude. Okay, so that's why most of the women does not take selfie in a group. Why? Because they look ugly. Okay, yeah. Like basically it's this thing, taking selfie in kind of like this way, like a I'm the single person, I can take a selfie, so I'm gonna look good, right? Yeah. But when you are with the group and you are try to manage everyone, that key everyone should supposed to be in the frame and things and that, so that you are managing things, try to kind of like suddenly just extend your arm much more better to kind of like let everyone who should supposed to be there, and then you take selfie, you look ugly, you knew that, still you take selfie. It really required courage, because that photo will kind of like share your WhatsApp group or things and that. Okay, it really required courage. Okay, so what is actually point that I'm trying to tell you? The point that I'm trying to tell you is this thing, that most of the people do that courage. Why? Because they wanted to be kind of like a part of the group, or they wanted to be kind of like a part of the group, or stand out at the same time. Okay, it's a kind of like a thing that na, ki, it's a very difficult to explain. It's not really difficult. It's just like it's very difficult to explain. Yeah, it's very difficult to explain. Okay, let me give you another example. Okay, let's just say you are the person who uploaded your content on Instagram platform very less. Okay, yeah, but your cousin came, and cousin kind of like said this thing, that ki, would you kind of like a kind of like somebody make a content with me. Okay, what do I do? Like basically you just stand there. I was kind of like, yeah, you have to do dance like this. I was like, okay, sure, why not? Okay, yeah. So basically ask this question to yourself. Okay, yeah, you will not gonna dance on your kind of like handle and things and that, but your cousin or your friend or maybe your kind of like someone said, would you do this thing? You might gonna kind of like stay, I will not gonna focus, but I will gonna in the background, and I will gonna do this do this hand and things and that. Why is that? Because everyone wanted to part of the crowd, but everyone also wanted to be like a basically just like a shine, or maybe something like that, ki maybe something that ki stand out. Okay, it's kind of like a thing, like our brain is wanted to be part of the crowd, but also wanted to be stand, but just little, not too much, just little. Okay, yeah. This is kind of like a thing, that's why most of people are kind of like a try to kind of like a create the content, or kind of like a things and that, so that they just stand out, but not too much, just little. Okay, just little bit. Okay, yeah, because this is kind of like a thing, this is what kind of like a somebody that development is actually came from, and things and that. I don't know, it's a very difficult to explain this thought process, because it's just kind of like a thing that now we are human, and we are kind of like a somebody wanted to be just part of the crowd. Just try to understand the concept. The concept that I'm trying to tell you is this thing: people are wanted to be part of the crowd, but people also wanted to be stand out just a little bit, okay, yeah. Now that just a little bit stand out, okay, yeah, it came from evolution, and that evolution is actually came from last 50 or 20 year. Yeah, just 20 year. Like this evolution is actually came like a people are wanted to be stand out. These are evolution in the human thought process. Evolution is actually came from just last 20 year. Okay, little it I'm gonna tell you. Okay, this is the one of the fastest evolution which is actually happened, because in the entire human history, human evolved through centuries, thousands of centuries, then evolution actually happened. But because of we are living in such a era where internet, social media and whatnot things are that, so everything are let us to do evolution much more faster. So basically if I'm kind of like a letting telling me this thing that he the like a 20-year ago, people are try to be part of the crowd, and they are wanted to be part of the crowd, they will not gonna stand out. Okay, like almost like a 99%. But in today's point of perspective, almost like a 100 out of almost like a maybe just 10% of the people are wanted to be stand out, just 10%. These are slightly evolution are actually happened in last 20 years, since the kind of like assembly the social media actually started, and this is the one of the fastest evolution actually happened. Within a 20 year, we are slightly shifted from this to this. The minute is kind of like a very small, but it is so much bigger when you look at the scale of the time and things and that, because humans are actually existed for almost like a millions of years, and evolution actually happened from thousands of years. But this evolution actually happened in just 20 year, just 20 year. Okay, yeah, so this looks so small, but it is so much bigger in our thought process. Okay, yeah. So that's why someone take a selfie, you are kind of like a barge in and try to put your head into that selfie, even if you are not want to kind of like a things in a photo, but you are kind of like a try to, okay, yeah, I wanted to be part of the selfie, so let's just get in. Okay, yeah. Or maybe someone kind of like said, would you help me to kind of like somebody just dance like that in things and that in the background? Yeah, I'm not gonna do, yeah, I will gonna do this thing. It's not like that I just do this or do that or whatever it is. I might be wrong. Okay, I might be wrong. Okay, but it's kind of like something that I experience. Now, what is actually do with that question? The question is kind of like says that ki misunderstood. Okay, so people will gonna misunderstood at the beginning. That is definitely gonna happen. Okay, yeah. People will started listening artifact and they will kind of like listening the artifact and they will say this is the kind of like a shit and things and that and that. But some of the people are try to think that no, I just wanted to say something because of the that tiny evolution. So they are try to express their thoughts. They also think that ki, okay, I do have a life, I do have a story, I do have kind of like some certain things to express. So they will start recording and things and that because I'm kind of like providing privacy. So they will kind of like feel really secured and they will kind of like express their thoughts and things and that. Oh yeah. So basically, this thing, the question is that how do I supposed to kind of like some user understood, like a misunderstood user, how do I supposed to make them understood? I shouldn't supposed to do that. Let them feel, let them time can kind of like somebody understood by themselves. Okay, yeah. Like basically is this thing na ki uploading content on social media platform, these are thought process are considered to be not right 20 year ago, but right now it's very common. The 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 evolution is meant to be change, and that is very much essential. Change is very much essential. Okay, so this is what it is. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So basically is this thing, does people and I will try to make that new user understood as much as possible, but obviously is this thing, throughout the time they will understood, and that's what I'm supposed to do it. I have kind of like a significant steps that I was supposed to do it, but I will gonna explain this thing in next artifact episode. So this is it. This and thank you.